Okay guys, welcome to Tuesday Techniques. My name's Ginell Cooper. This is a new series I'm doing on my channel to teach just different little techniques every week. Since this is our first week, I'm starting with 2 techniques. The first one was about stitch marking, and this is number 2. This one I think has been a long time coming. I made a video months and months ago about how to do a pocket shawl, and it was a super popular video, but I had like 100 people asking me questions about how to do this foundation. Since I started doing foundation rows, I have not stopped. Like, I don't even chain to start anything anymore because I don't like crocheting into a chain. This is just so much more comfortable for me. It makes more sense, and it also makes it nice and stretchy. So if you've ever made a starting chain, especially on something long or something that needs to stretch, chains don't stretch hardly at all. They're very solid. So when you're working your way up, you get up to the top, this part is going to be, not only is it going to be bigger than what you started off with, but it's going to be stretchier. So when you're making head wraps and things like that, it's just super annoying. So I started doing foundation rows, and they have become, they're my staple thing that I do. So if you go back and look at almost every single one of my crochet videos, you will see that I always start off with a foundation row. But this video will be specifically just to show you how to do them. So I'm going to show you a foundation single crochet, a foundation half double crochet, and a foundation double crochet. I think those 3 will be the ones that you'll pretty much always want to start off with. So single crochet, you just start with one little slip knot there. Okay, so when you're doing a single crochet foundation row, I think that technically you're only supposed to chain up 1, and then you're supposed to go right back in here and start doing it. But I have found that when you do that, it makes for a really sloppy knot at the end. So I'm gonna chain up 1 just so that it kind of locks it in place and it doesn't move around on you. You're gonna come back into that first hole, that first chain, and what you want to do is you want to make sure you have 2 stitches right there, 2 pieces of yarn right there, 1 on that side, okay? Then you are going to yarn over and pull it through, and this is where it feels funny. And it's going to feel weird on the first one because that's only twisted. It's not actually like a chain. So you're going to yarn over, pull through 1. That's the chain. So I want you to imagine that the chain is going to go this way and this first stitch is going to go this way. So you're essentially doing the first 2 rows at the same time, the chain row and the stitch row at the same time. So we just made our chain. Now you're going to yarn over and do the single crochet. The first one's always a little bit loose for me because I do that very loosely. So then doing the second chain or the second stitch, you're going to go back into this chain, and here's where you're going to go. See how each chain is made up of 2 stitches on this side, or 2 yarns on this side, 1 yarn on this side. You want to go between that so that you have 2 yarns there, 1 yarn on the other side. That's the hole you're going into to start that foundation. So you yarn over and pull up 1, yarn over, go through 1, that's the chain. So you're doing the chain. Now we're going to do the single crochet. So yarn over, go through the single crochet. And you're going to continue to do that for as long as the piece needs to be, whatever you're working on. So oftentimes you'll see pieces that'll say chain in a multiple of 4 plus 3. You no longer have to worry about that plus 3 until you get to that point. So do your multiple of 4, or do whatever it is that you're working on for your base. And then when we get to, because you've already done basically the first 2 rows at the same time. And then whatever you have to chain up when you get to the end, don't worry about that until you get to the end of your row. I do most of my stuff by measurement rather than by stitch count, but when you're working with fancy stitches, a lot of times there needs to be like multiples of certain things. You have to have even stitches, or you need to have like multiples of 3 or whatever. So that's one reason to stitch count, and just do the main stitch count for those. Worry about the chains when you get to the end. Okay, so this is single crochet foundation row. So basically what you've done is 1, 2, all of these are chains right here. You can see them, right? They look like a little braid. And then these are the single crochets on top of those. Okay, so we're gonna do it again. We're gonna do it with a half double crochet. Slip stitch. This one, you're also gonna chain 1. okay? This time you're gonna wrap it once, go back into that original hole, pull up one loop, and you're gonna yarn over, go through the first one. That's the chain. See, you can see it already forming. There's your little upside down horseshoe right there. And then yarn over and go through all 3 of those. That's your half double crochet. So then do it again, yarn over, go through that hole. So the hole, remember, is 2 pieces of yarn on this side, 1 piece on this side. Go through there, pull up a loop, yarn over and go through 1, that's the chain, right? Chain, chain, and then yarn over and go through all 3, that's the half double crochet. And you can continue doing that again for as long as you need it to be. Do it a couple more times. Yarn over. This is the part that catches everybody up, is finding that hole. So you just have to make sure that, look for the 2 yarns on this side. There's that the little upside down V's are going right here. So the 2 yarns on that side, and then this 1 yarn right here stays. This up here is the stitch, whatever stitch you're doing, the double crochet. In this case, it's a half double crochet, but this is actually part of that chain down there. So yarn over, go between those 3, so 2 on this side, 1 on that side, yarn over, pull up a loop, go through 1, that's the chain, and then go through all 3. The other thing too about a foundation row is that you are basically working this way, but it feels like it's coming this way. So it feels like you're going, it feels like a weird turn, but that's because you're doing 2 rows at the same time. I'll do it one more time in half double. There you go, there's your 2 yarns. Pull up a loop, yarn over, go through 1. Notice too that I'm kind of pulling the yarn up so that this isn't super tight down here. And then go through all 3. So I'll show you again, because we don't want this part, we don't want the chain to be tight and then your main stitch to be loose. We want this to be just as loose. So you can loosen up any stitch by we'll go through here, pull up a loop and pull it up kind of high. Although I didn't wrap, hold on. So yarn over, go through, pull this up sort of high so that they're even, and then go through 1. And then that'll kind of make it uneven because you've done 1 stitch, but you haven't finished the stitch over here. And then go through all 3 and that'll even it out. So you have on the bottom, chain, 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 chain. Those are those little braids right there. And then the half double is on top of those chains. Okay, one more. We're gonna do it with double crochets. Okay, so same thing. Slip knot. This time we're going to chain up 2. 1, 2. Then you're going to go back, you're going to wrap it like you're going to do a double crochet, go back into that original hole, 2 yarns on this side, 1 yarn on that side, wrap it, pull up 1, wrap it, and go through 1 for the chain. And now we're going to do a double crochet. So wrap it, go through 2, wrap it, go through 2, just like that. So you can kind of see in a double crochet, it's a little bit more defined where the chain is. That is the chain right there. And this is the next chain. It's just kind of turned up, but we're going to go into that. So wrap it, find the second chain, 2 yarns on this side. Oh, it's hard to see, but see that other yarn right there? That's the part that holds it in place. If you try to like take all 3 of those, it's gonna look cattywampus and weird. So if it's starting to look wrong, it might be because you're grabbing all 3 pieces of those yarns. Nice, my very technical terminology. So pull up 1, wrap it and go through 1 for your chain, and then do your double crochet, like that. Okay, let's do it a couple more times so you can see it. Wrap it, go through this hole, 2 yarns on that side, the 3rd yarn is holding it there, wrap it, pull up 1, go through 1, that's the chain, and then do your double crochet. Okay, so when you get to the end of your row, let's say this row is the length that you want, I want you in your mind to imagine that you have completed 2 full rows. You've done a chain and you've done the first row of whatever stitch you're doing, right? And you can probably do this with any stitch. Just remember the chain is first and then you do the triple crochet, or the chain is first and then you do whatever you're doing. So if you were doing, say, like a lemon peel stitch, you would do your chains and then you would have like single crochet, double crochet, single crochet, double crochet. So you can just do it on anything. But to keep things simple for me, I tend to always start with like a foundation single crochet, just to like make a nice solid row on the bottom. Okay, so then what you want to do is you want to just act like you've just finished 2 rows. So if you want to go up and do more double crochets, you just chain up 2, turn, and then it's double crochet all the way back, right? My tiny little swatch. So that's basically how you do a foundation row. I hope you like that. I hope that worked for you, because I know a lot of people struggle with that. It is my favorite starting stitch. I use it all the time. The only other thing that the only time I don't use it is when I'm working in the round, and when I'm working in the round, I always use a magic ring. So I'm trying to think of the last time I didn't use a magic ring. I can't remember. I know there are times when you wouldn't, but so come back and see us again on Tuesday Techniques next week. I'm going to be teaching how to do a magic ring, and also how to make anything that is a 20, like practice swatch, that is a 20" by 5" into a twisted head wrap. So very simple, quick little techniques for you. I hope you like it. If you do like it, be sure to comment and give it a like and subscribe so that you can see next week's Technique Tuesday. See you then.